Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius. It is a Pewter post-game show, and a very depressing one, to say the least, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were stunned in overtime, losing to the lowly Cleveland Browns 23-17 in overtime. They lost on a Nick Chubb touchdown with under a minute to go, under 30 seconds to go, as they could not close the door despite having multiple, and I mean multiple, opportunities to finish off this game. Ineptitude left and right, particularly with time management, and we will get into all of that. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is my fellow co-host from PewterReport.com, the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com. That is Scott Reynolds. And Scott, as I just told you a couple minutes ago, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm mad at myself for believing that this team was anything different than what they were, because they beat one okay team with the Seattle Seahawks in Germany and then immediately just fumbled the bag coming back to America after a bye and losing to the Browns.
The Bucs should petition the NFL to play all games in Germany. From this point, I'm not saying move the franchise. I'm just saying play all the home games, play every game in Germany, because they look like a different team over there. They did not look like a good team at all today, especially offensively, right? I mean, such fool's gold over there in Germany to see the Bucs put up 21 points, 3 touchdowns, no field goals, and now you have these problems resurface. The Bucs were 4 of 15 on third downs. They had 7 possessions. And with gaining 16 yards or fewer, 6 possessions out of their 11 possessions during the regulation period ended in 3 and outs. That's just horrific. And as Tom Brady said after the game, and I quote here, I think there's some play calling issues for sure. I think that's where Tom's going with this. I also think Tom was talking about the not being on the same page with the receivers. But this is what Tom said: we just don't score enough points. 17 points isn't going to do it, and that's basically what we've been doing all year. It's like the same thing, had a chance. Give them a lot of credit. They made some real clutch plays. 4th down completion for the touchdown was a great play. We had our chances, but we just didn't make the plays, and they did. And, of course, losing Tristan Wirfs was adding injury to insult in this game. And the good news, I think, at least reports from the locker room, are that Tristan Wirfs is putting weight on both legs. At the same time, we've seen Ryan Jensen walk around now for months, right, Matt, and Ryan Jensen's no closer to playing now than he was a couple weeks ago. So I don't know what to make of this Tristan Wirfs injury. The Bucs don't know the severity of it yet. I think it's encouraging, at least somewhat, that maybe he's walking around. At the same time, Matt, if you remember last year with the Chris Godwin ACL injury, he was literally jogging on the sidelines, running, trying to see if he could still play, right? So, and of course, turns out that he had a torn ACL and was done for the year. So we just don't know at this point in time. But what happened was there was a blitz pickup. I believe it was Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa, who jumped up in the air, and Sneak Vaughn, the running back, kind of caught him and threw him down. But when he threw him down, he threw him on Tristan's left leg, and he was in pass protection. Didn't see that, obviously, and the weight of the Browns linebacker just fell on that leg and injured it. We hope that it is a mild sprain, but don't know the severity of it yet. But again, if the Buccaneers right now, and believe it or not, they're still in first place.
I know. They got bailed out. The Falcons lost to Washington.
They're still in first place in the NFC South. If this team wins the division and makes the playoffs, they're one and done. They're not going anywhere. This is not a good football team. No. And it really hasn't been all year, right? We got a little excited because they played a good game against Seattle, and they beat a team that we'll see how Seattle fares throughout the rest of the year. If they turn out to be a good team or if they fade, they beat a really bad Rams team that has only won 3 games. And now they've lost to some teams that have 3 wins, right? I mean, the Browns had 3 wins. They've lost to the 1-win teams and the Panthers and Steelers, Matt. I mean, this is a team that just is not going anywhere, even if they make the playoffs.
I tweeted it out before. The Bucs love losing to the worst teams in the NFL. Like they lost to the Panthers, who actually turned out to be a pretty feisty team. Like they compete hard every week. Yeah. If the Bucs had a little bit of the heart that the Panthers had, then maybe they would have like a 2-game division lead, or maybe even a 3-game division lead.
Yeah.
But yeah, they love losing to the worst teams in the league. We got a couple super chats, so just wanted to acknowledge that. Thank you, Lawrence. Lawrence says no timeout after the Julio catch. WTF? Brady gone next year.
Well, actually, they did call a timeout after the Julio catch.
Yeah, but they should have called it before. They ran the screenplay. This is the final drive of the fourth quarter before the game went into overtime. And first play went nowhere. Another screen that didn't work. I'm shocked. Yeah. They were better with the screen game, but of course, when it mattered most, they weren't.
Yeah.
And they just let the play clock go down, and then they completed the next play to Julio. And man, if only they had another, 14 seconds. You complete that pass to Julio, then get to like the 35-yard line. And
give Ryan Succop a chance,
I get maybe a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, well, if they throw incomplete on second down, the Browns still had their one timeout because the Bucs didn't effectively use time management. That maybe the Browns can get the ball back, yada, yada, yada. But at that point, you can't play scared, and you have Tom Brady as your quarterback. And if you're afraid to make a mistake, then you shouldn't be coaching this team. Eric here, the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Eric. This says this loss was 1,000% on Leftwich and Bowles. Terrible play calling and a coward's way to play, relying on the defense to make a play instead of going for more points. Also, stopping play action is crazy. I just don't understand how really the coaches in general, but I think, again, more specifically, the offense, they just refuse to adjust to anything. It's like, that first touchdown drive of the game, Rachaad White, had the huge run that pretty much set up the rest of the drive. Yeah. And listen, the run game, I guess, still was better than in previous weeks, but the run game just wasn't as efficient as you would have liked it to be after that first drive. And they sucked again on 3rd and shorts, and they didn't make any adjustments at all. They just kept trying to go with the same plays and the same opportunities. And why is there no chemistry with Tom Brady and Mike Evans? Like, why is Mike Evans?
It's crazy.
Why is Mike Evans pulling up on, I think it was a 2nd and long. It might have been in overtime. It's all scrambling to me. But like, Mike Evans could have put his arms out and at least dove and would have had a chance on a deep ball thrown by Tom Brady. And he just pulled up and said, nah, I'm not getting it. That shows that, like, it's just frustration. Like, to call out Mike Evans for an effort play, that doesn't happen with Mike Evans. It's just there's no adjustments at all whatsoever. They find one thing that works and they say, hey, it worked one time, so let's try it again. But I mean, no Kate Otten and the terrible time management at the end and the constant 3 and outs. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
The thing is, with the other thing too is, listen, Tom Brady can call timeouts too, right? I mean, he's team captain. He can call a timeout on the field. And so I'm shocked that Todd Bowles didn't call a timeout. I'm shocked that Tom Brady didn't call a timeout. You have 3.
Yeah.
You have 3. It's not like you have 2 or 1. You have 3. So when your first play gains 1 yard on the screen, call timeout. Again, are you playing for overtime, or are you trying to win the game? I mean, you have Tom Brady and Ryan Succop. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch. It's worked for you before. It's won you games before. I would have gone that route, but they chose not to. But you're talking about the offense. These are the drives, and I'm just going to read them off to you here. First one's obviously the touchdown. This is the Buccaneer drives. 9 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. Next drive, 3 plays, 8 yards, punt. 3 plays, 8 yards, punt. 10 plays, 57 yards, field goal. 3 plays, no yards, punt. 7 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. And then the last possession of the third quarter, 3 plays, 4 yards, punt. And then the fourth quarter, 6 plays, 25 yards, punt. 3 plays, 7 yards, punt. 3 plays, minus 10 yards, punt. And then 4 plays, 27 yards, end of the half. And of course, that's the end of the game in regulation. So out of the 4 possessions that the Bucs had in the fourth quarter, when they had a 7-point lead, again, I'll read those off to you. 6 plays, 25 yards, punt. 3 plays, 7 yards, punt. 3 plays, minus 10 yards, punt. And then, of course, the end of regulation, 4 plays, 27 yards. And so they ended the game essentially, aside from that end of the game, end of regulation, with 4 straight punts, including 3 3-and-outs out of those 4. Just abysmal offense, abysmal play calling, abysmal execution. And again, as Tom Brady said, 17 points is not going to cut it. And this is something that's plagued this team all year long. This is a season-long plague. And if you think Tom Brady's going to come back to Tampa, folks, for another year, if he decides to play, he's not. Why would he? Why would he?
And that's the sad part too, is you have the talent. Like, you have the talent. Chris Godwin was fantastic today. He's really showed up the last 2 games looking like that Chris Godwin of old. And you have all the talent in the world, and the Bucs still do absolutely nothing with it. It's complete ineptitude. Yeah. It's absolutely inept, and it's just sad, and honestly, it's pathetic. It's more sad than anything else, though, because this team could be so good, and they're not even playing remotely close to any type of potential that they could have. Thank you to Leo for the just way too many 3-and-outs. Like, we used to joke about the over-unders on the 3-and-outs that they're going to have. And it's just nonstop. And we talked about, I'll get to Leo's super chat in a second, but another thing we talked about during the week, the 3 games that the Browns had won prior to defeating the Bucs an hour ago. The games they won, they allowed 13 points, 17 points, and 17 points. So the magic number was 20. All they had to do was get to 20. Yep. And they could have done that in the second half. They could have closed this game out without even giving the Browns an opportunity to tie it up. And I really don't blame the defense too much, especially for the way that they played in the second half. But Bucs score 17 and they lose. And that's once again, it's just, you knew you had to score 20 against the Browns. You couldn't do that. Leo here says we need a whole coaching staff switch next year. This team won't win anything with gutless Bowles at head coach. Leftwich should be fired immediately as well. I mean, Leftwich, I think at this point, there's nothing he can do to salvage his job. Yeah. He's not going to be here next year. Even if Bowles is, Leftwich is not going to be here next year. I'm just going to say that right now. Catamax, $2 super chat. Appreciate that. 4th and 2 on the Cleveland 35. No field goal attempt for Rio. I think it was the 37. If I remember correctly. Not that it really matters, 35, 37, right. But if it's the 37, then you're looking at a 17, you're looking at a 44-yard field goal attempt right there. And or no, I take that back. Right, because 44, right. It'd be a 54-yard field goal attempt. Yeah. Right. So, that's the one knock on Succop said. He's not known for a big leg. Right. But again, the Browns went for it on 4th and 9. That was when Amari Cooper dropped that egregious. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, the Browns were losing. So you could understand that. Now, I understand the analytics people are going nuts right now, right? I mean, like that's bad coaching. You got to go for it there and pick up the 2 yards, get the first down. Be aggressive and all of that. The punt ended with the touchback. So it was only a net gain of 17 yards because they brought the ball at the 20. If Carmada had dropped that punt inside maybe the 5 or 10-yard line, it's a different story then. It looks better than only the 17-point or 17-yard differential. But here's the thing, and I understand why Bowles trusted his defense more because he doesn't trust his offense at all. Yeah. Okay. Again, I'll read these off to you. This is the fourth quarter, the 4 possessions, 6 plays, 25 yards, punt. 3 plays, 7 yards, punt. 3 plays, minus 10 yards, punt. And then, of course, 4 plays, 27 yards into the half. So I don't think, and again, short yardage problems resurfaced again.
I don't think Bowles trusted the Buccaneers to pick up the 2 yards on offense. Okay, so I get some of the angst in the analytics community saying, well, you stand a better chance of winning if you go for this or that. At what point in time did that seem like an automatic play to pick up 2 yards? Because in the second half, the Buccaneers were struggling. They had 4 straight 3-and-outs, or I should say 4 straight punts. 3 out of those 4 were 3-and-outs. So as much as I want to, maybe chide Bowles for not being aggressive there, their momentum is real. Yeah. And if you get stuffed right there, and granted, it was 2 yards. It was not like a 4th and 1 where Brady could have sneaked the ball as he did earlier in the game and picked up that 4th down. But it was 4th and 2. And if it's stuffed for no gain, all of a sudden the Browns have the ball at your 37 and they've got momentum. That's a big, huge stop at home with the dog pound. And again, Bowles' defense up to that point had only given up 10 points, Matt.
Right.
This is a Browns offense that was averaging 24 points per game. So it took the Browns all the way down to 30 seconds left, 35 seconds left on 4th down to get the game time touchdown. So in my mind, I don't critique Bowles so much for that as I do. Why don't you call the timeout after only picking up 1 yard on that final drive? That to me was the killer when it comes to game management.
Exactly. And to go back to your point with the short yardage situation, they actually regressed in short yardage situations. Rashad White got tackled, didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. That's right. On a 3rd and short. He lost 2 yards. So if it was even possible, they regressed when it came to short yardage situations. And yeah, I mean, you can go to not calling the timeouts when you have 3 timeouts. And again, you don't take them into overtime. Why they didn't use him there. The fact that they threw it on 2nd down when the Browns were going to be forced to use all their timeouts. They threw it on 2nd down. And that was a killer to me. That was a killer to me. Yeah, I don't necessarily hate being that aggressive, but what I hate is that it was essentially one option with Mike Evans right there. Yes. How do you not have a second option, whether it's O'Keefe out in the flat or a tight end? God forbid they wanted to use Cade Otton at all in this game. Or like a running back out in the flat. You have to at least either take the sack like Brady did on 3rd down, or at least have another option if Mike Evans isn't wide open without a shadow of a doubt that he's going to get the ball and get a 1st down. At least have another option that you can throw it to so you at least get positive yards or get back to the line of scrimmage and you keep that clock running, and then the Browns have to use another timeout. So the fact that it was just incomplete, it took like 2 seconds off the clock, and then the Browns had that extra timeout. Now, they didn't even really need it because Nick Chubb ran 25 yards down the field and got out of bounds. But I would have to think, first of all, if the Browns don't have that last timeout, they're not running it with Nick Chubb in that situation at all.
That's exactly right.
And they are forced to throw it. So in that sense, the time management was terrible in there. And then, of course, what they didn't do when they finally had it on the final drive, when they got to go up tempo, which is really the only time that the offense can really function now. So Richard here, thank you for the $2 super chat. I don't know what
£2
currency. Yeah, maybe £2. Is there any chance Leftwich goes this year?
No, if it would have happened either after the Ravens game
or this week during the bye,
or during the bye week. So I don't see that change happening, right now. Yeah. Raymond takes issue here. Playing scared. That's old football way of thinking, Scott. Got to be aggressive. Aggressive doesn't mean success. It just doesn't. And if you can, like, looking back at the numbers again, when it comes to their 3rd down conversions, were only 4 of 15. That was 3rd downs. So you have 3 downs to pick up 10 yards, and they only converted 3rd downs 4 out of 15. And they were 1 for 1 on 4th downs, and that was the quarterback sneak. But I don't see the confidence that Bowles has in this offense, nor should he. So I don't think 4th and 2 is a gimme at all. You can be aggressive. Doesn't mean it's going to work. And if anything, again, I point to Todd Bowles being a defensive-minded coach saying, my defense is playing better than my offense right now. I'm gonna put this on my defense and have them try to win the game. And it came down to one play, a fantastic throw and catch by Brissett to Njoku.
That was incredible catch. I don't blame Devin White on coverage. What's up?
Devin White actually had pretty good coverage.
I was going to say, I don't blame Devin White at all for that. It was just an exceptional, one-handed catch with the game on the line. It was 4th and goal. So, unfortunate there for the Bucs. And they had a lack of success on offense throughout the entire game. I will say, when I drink a Celsius energy drink, I usually feel pretty successful after. And of course, Celsius is the presenting sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. Check out their variety of flavors from the Arctic Peach and Tropical Vibe. Also got a cold flavor, wild berry, sparkling peach, mango. So a ton of awesome different flavors. 7 essential vitamins is the key. It's the healthy energy drink, gives you that essential energy, get you through your day, but there's 0 sugar. So you don't have to worry about having the post energy drink crash that you might get with other products. You're not going to be sluggish even after you have a Celsius energy drink later on in the day. If you want to know where to find them, go to the Celsius store locator. Check out where they have it in your area, whether it's local Walmart, Target, your bodega, as I like to say, because they're popping up all over the place, which is awesome to see. And if you really like them and you want to start getting them bulk, go to Amazon, click subscribe, and you can have it set up where they send Celsius to you every 1, 2, 3 weeks, whenever you want it. I would recommend getting the variety pack because variety is the spice of life. And there's so many great flavors to enjoy. Why not try them all? So that's Celsius Energy Drinks, hashtag Celsius Live Fit, hashtag Celsius Energy, the official sponsor of the Pewter Report podcast. Yeah. I don't even know where, this offense is so inept. It's so bad. The defense, sure, they made their mistakes. The Browns completely took advantage of them with the over pursuit, just the over aggressiveness when they scored on the reverse in the first half. I understand that. I think the thing that was most concerning is that, and part of this had to do with the rainy field and the fact that the field itself was so crappy based on the vandalism that went on there. But I mean, the secondary was dropping like flies. Carlton Davis got injured early, thankfully came back. Antoine Winfield Jr. was dealing with concussion again. That's obviously very scary. Was able to come back. Jamel Dean got hurt at one point when he pretty much got tackled by Schwartz, the receiver, on the OPI. Mike Edwards got hurt. Literally everyone in the secondary got hurt at some point. And again, they played very well in the second half. And then even in overtime, it seems like every week, except for the Seahawks game, there's the one breakdown. And this time, again, the field came into play with Carlton Davis slipping, and that essentially sent Amari Cooper down the field and ended the game. But every game, there's just that one little crack, and it either wins the game for the Browns or it opens things up. And it's unfortunate to see because I like the way that the defense played for the most part. You love the way that they blitzed Devin White. They have to blitz Devin White, though, because one thing that I really don't like is that they can't really generate pressure with just, 4 defenders up front.
Not without Shaq Barrett. I mean, they really struggled to do that. And, listen, the Browns' offensive line's good, right? They didn't have Ethan Posick, their center. That's true. But the tackles, Wills and Conklin, are better than average. The guards, I think, are pretty exceptional. Batonio and Wyatt Teller, I think they're both really good guards. And I think they held their own against the Bucs pass rush, and they needed to get some blitzes. And again, I thought the defense played well enough to win this game. They just didn't get any help from the offense, especially in the fourth quarter with all of those 3 and outs. And they had a 5-play drive that got 26 yards, and then they had to punt the ball. But it just wasn't enough, and you're not going to win games like that. And we're talking about the offense. And Max, appreciate the $5 super chat. I agree. Otten is our best tight end. However, do we have any reason that Kyle Rudolph is getting paid to sit on the bench? He is healthy, is my understanding. I'll just say this about Cade Otten. And I listen, if you've listened to the Pewter Report podcast when I'm on, if you've read my stuff on pewterreport.com, I have called for Byron Leftwich to be fired not once but twice this year, and it's not going to happen. I understand that, but I'm right. He should be fired. And the result is again, as Tom Brady said, these are Tom Brady's words, not mine. Quote, "We just didn't score enough points. 17 points isn't going to do it. And that's basically what we've been doing all year. It's like the same thing, end quote. 17 points, not going to win games for you. It's just not. Even when the defense plays well enough to win, you got to, like you said, Matt, 20 points wins this game, right? And they couldn't get there. They couldn't get that extra drive to kick a field goal and all that.
They needed a damn field goal. Like
one more field goal. Yes. And here's the thing. Cade Otton, who has, the arrows pointing up on this guy, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, Cade Otton, not Cam Brate, scored the game-winning touchdown against the Rams. Why? Because Brate wasn't playing. But Cade Otton was that guy. Cade Otton had a 28-yard catch and run against the Rams. He had a 25-yard catch down the seam against the Seahawks over there in Germany. The arrow is pointing up for this kid. Cam Brate comes back into the lineup. He's targeted 5 times today, has 2 catches for 15 yards with a long of 9. Cade Otton, 0 targets today. 0. None.
O'Keefe was more involved in the game, and congratulations to O'Keefe scoring his first touchdown. That was an awesome moment, but O'Keefe should never be out-targeting Cade Otton in any capacity.
I love Cam Brate. I love the guy. He's great. He serves a role in this team. It should not be at this point as tight end 1. That should be Cade Otton's job. Cade Otton should be featured more in the passing game. I think he's earned that over Cam Brate. Can you name me a play that Cam Brate has made this year? Like a play. I mean, like a play, Matt.
I like the way that he, in this game, when he leaped for the first down marker and was still like 3 yards short.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you.
I can rattle off the 35-yard catch and run by Cade Otton at Carolina, the 28-yard catch and run against the Rams, the game-winning touchdown against the Rams, the 25-yarder, stretching the seam, some of those Gronkowski shots down the middle that Cade Otton's capable of doing, that Cam Brate is not capable of doing anymore. So to me, 5 targets for Cam Brate, what's it getting you? And again, this goes back to coaching. This goes back to Byron Leftwich. He is in charge of the offense, and he's using the wrong personnel again.
And I like this point from Cali Bucks here. I don't necessarily agree with the first part. He says, I love Brate, but his time is over. He's slower than he already was in the past. I'm not saying Cam Brate's time in the league is officially done, but he does look just so slow every time he has the ball.
Right. And you know who's slower? Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah.
Back to that super chat. That's why Rudolph, he's healthy and he's not playing, is because he's slower than Cam Brate. That's why.
Exactly.
Matt,
he's in a better presence.
Matt, we saw that in training camp, did we not? I think you were standing right next to me when Kyle Rudolph, came to Tampa in training camp, and I said, "Holy crap!" I mean, Kyle Rudolph is slow. Cam Brate is actually faster than Kyle Rudolph. We made that determination in training camp, and obviously it's held up because this coaching staff is inept on the offensive side, but at least they know that Kyle Rudolph is like tight end 4 on this team.
Right. Yeah, he's tight end 4. And we get asked about Kyle Rudolph once a month. And it's the same thing. He's here for depth purposes and can be a veteran, a mentor to Cade Otton and O'Keefe. And that's his role on this team. Raymond, thank you again for the super chat. Thanks to everyone for these super chats today. If you give us a super chat, we will make sure we answer your question. And they go to the front of the line. So appreciate all the comments. But super chats come first. Raymond says, Matt and Scott, you think Bowles has any input on offensive strategy, or is this all Leftwich? Offense is completely different than this year than prior to years. Obviously, with Bruce Arians at the helm there. I mean, Bowles is. I think you asked him, Scott. Bowles has been asked about do you sit in on these offensive meetings and and everything along those lines, and he says he gives input when he feels it's needed and. He has to, but ultimately it's down to Byron. So I don't know. Obviously, Todd makes the decisions of going for it on 4th down or things of that nature. Right. But I think offensively, a majority of the time, it's Byron Leftwich's call, which is why you hear Todd in the media be like, we need to run it more, or we need to do this more. Maybe he should have a little bit more input, because clearly whatever they've been trying to do offensively, it's worked, twice this season, week 1 and the Germany game. That's about it.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Bowles is, and he's even said it, he's like, I'm a defensive coach. I'm not an offensive coach. And I'm the same way. Now, I've covered Bucs football for 27 years. I know more about the defensive side of the ball than I do the offensive side. But what I do know about the offense is I know when it's not right? I can look at something and say, that's not right. Yeah. And I can be dead on about that. And a lot of times it's not just my, insider analysis. It's stuff that you can see too, Pewter people, right? I mean, we know when something's not working, right? Like, hey, let's go 13 personnel with 3 tight ends and jumbo and bring an extra offensive lineman as that 4th tight end, Josh Wells or whoever, and try to run the ball on 3rd and 1, right? And like that didn't work in the beginning of the season. Like it didn't. Over and over and over again, didn't work. And it shouldn't have to take a reporter to call out Byron Leftwich in a press conference and say, have you tried maybe spreading out teams and running into a lighter box, maybe forcing them into nickel personnel?
The Browns did that, and they got a first down on it.
Yeah,
running out a shotgun.
Right. And that worked. So I think Todd Bowles is kind of the same way now. Todd Bowles knows way more about football than I do. Like 1,000 times % more football than I do. But I think that he knows when something isn't working. It just, he doesn't know how to fix it because that's not his expertise. And I think that's where he's pointed stuff out to Byron. Byron, this is not working, because he can look at it from a defensive standpoint. Just like that's kind of how I view football. Now, if I want to know something about the Bucs offense, I go to Paul Atwall, who is a savant when it comes to Bruce Arians' offense. He knows not just the plays, but where the routes are in terms of the progressions. I mean, he knows everything about this offense. I'm not that way. And I don't think Todd Bowles is that way. I think Todd Bowles, again, looks at it and says, Byron, you need to fix this, this, and this. And you go about fixing it how you would, but you're the offensive coaches. That's why you're getting paid to do that. And again, Todd Bowles inherited the staff, folks. He inherited the staff. This is Bruce Arians' staff. And some of these coaches are not going to be here next year. And this is nothing new. This is something that has been brewing for a while. And Byron Leftwich, and unless something drastically changes, is going to be one of those guys who's not going to be here next year.
I mean, why would you keep anyone from the offensive side for next season? Like, the receivers have regressed. Leonard Fournette has regressed. Your top tight end can't be the tight end number 1 because for whatever reason. But one thing that is number 1 is Pirate Republic beer. It's the number 1 beer out there on the market. And of course, the official beer of PewterReport.com. They are based out of Nassau, Bahamas, and now invading Florida just in time for football season. Beer brings people together, even when the Bucs struggle to celebrate life. That means celebrating life in the spirit of the original pirate code. That's a sense of belonging. Pirate Republic is a community of people living life on their terms. The Long John Pilsner, which you see on the screen there, is perfect for tailgating or having fun at the beach in the Florida sun. It's my personal favorite as well. Then you have the Take No Quarter IPA. That is the best IPA that you'll drink. That's in the green there. You can also drop an orange slice in the golden haze of piracy Belgian wit beer and enjoy the pirate life. Pirate Republic beer, and that of course is in gold. Pirate Republic beer is available at participating retailers like Total Wine and More, Lucan's Liquors, Party Liquors, and select ABC liquor stores in the greater Tampa Bay area, and they are expanding across the state of Florida. So live life on your terms and drink like a pirate with Pirate Republic beer. I go to ABC Liquor for mine.
Yeah. Is Lefty just being petty because BA picked Todd? No, that's not the case. No, I think Byron Leftwich has just been exposed. I think that if you give the star-studded personnel to most offensive coordinators around the league, Matt, like this year's crop of play callers, whether they're OCs or head coaches or last year's, whatever, if you give them Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Alex Kappa, Tristan Wirfs, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady. If you give that starting 11 to almost every offensive coordinator, they're going to look really good. They're going to look like geniuses. I mean, it's a 30-point. You've heard the term like turnkey, right? It's a turnkey business, right? Where we get you all set up. Where all you get to do is turn the key, open the door, and run your franchise. I mean, that's a lot of talent. That's just a ton of talent. It's like 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, a future Hall of Fame quarterback, a future Hall of Fame tight end, a future Hall of Fame wide receiver, a receiver that got paid $20 million this offseason, and another receiver that has Hall of Fame credentials. He's just a jackass in Antonio Brown. And I just firmly believe that Byron Leftwich called Bruce Arians plays, and when you have that much talent, you can't double everybody. Somebody is going to be drawing the favorable matchup, whether it's Gronk on a linebacker, whether it's AB, on a
third string, fourth string corner,
string corner, or whatever. And Brady's good enough behind that offensive line to have the time to scan, to find the open receiver and hit him. And they did that for a couple years and it worked. And then half of that lineup is gone. Jensen's gone, Kappa's gone, Marpet's gone, Gronk is gone, and AB is gone. And this is a shell of its former self offensively. And now you have to be creative. Now you have to have some imagination, because the plays that worked in 2020 and 2021 aren't working right now because they don't have the talent across the board to run those plays.
Right. And
we're not seeing from Byron Leftwich the creativity. Now, we see it 3 or 4 times a game, like
sweep the Julio Jones. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Great play call. Great. But
they're too few and far.
Where's the next one? Yeah. Where's the next play like that? That's creative, especially in the fourth quarter, when again you've got an offense that completely bogs down, 4 straight punts, going 3 plays for 4 yards, 6 plays for 25 yards, 3 plays for 7 yards, 3 plays for minus 10 yards, and then end the regulation 4 plays for 27. That's why this team lost the game.
And I understand early in the season, it was like, hey, all the players that you rattled off that were here last year and aren't here this year. I understand there's that window of, hey, we got to get everyone on the same page, build that chemistry, and yada, yada, yada. That's an excuse for earlier in the season. All right. They just played their last game in the month of November.
Yeah.
They are heading into December. And I understand Jensen's not there and Ali Marpet's not there, but this offensive line isn't that bad to the point that they should be losing games like they did today and games like they did to the Panthers and the Steelers earlier in the season. This tight end room doesn't have Gronk anymore, but K-Dot is good enough where they shouldn't be losing to a team like today where he doesn't get a target. Yeah. You go across the board. Sure, there's some downgrades in other spots, but they should not be 5 and 6 at this point. The offense should not be this inept where they're the headline every single week because they're that bad. That's all we have to talk about is how bad Byron Leftwich is at his job. So it's no more excuses. There's no excuse that through 11 games you can't get your shit together.
And here's the thing, Matt. You've had a bye week.
Yeah, you had the bye.
You had a bye week to think about what you wanted to do offensively. You had an extra week to self-scout, to look at the Browns, and with that extra time, you came up with 17 points.
Yeah.
That's piss poor. That's just piss poor. It just is. Catamax, appreciate all the super chats.
Yeah,
man. Thank you for coming through. $2. What is our biggest need in the draft next year? There's a lot of needs on this team.
Quarterback could be.
Yeah, quarterback could be. Although this team's probably going to win enough to where they're not going to probably be getting a premium type of quarterback. At the same time, too, Matt, if I'm a head coach, rookie quarterbacks are coach killers. They just are. Ask Todd Bowles. That's what doomed him up there in New York with Sam Darnold. I mean, you went from having Ryan Fitzpatrick for most of your first year up there, and then starting 5 other quarterbacks over the next 3 years. That is not good. That's not a recipe for success.
Yeah.
So I will say this: offensive line probably is going to be up there. Maybe not in the first round, but certainly in the second. Wide receiver, Matt. This is a wide receiver driven offense, and as crazy as it sounds, I know that they've just invested $10 million per year in Russell Gage. I have not seen any return on that investment whatsoever. This is a wide receiver driven offense. Julio Jones is not going to be back next year. So you've got Mike Evans, who is going to be knocking on 30's door, and Chris Godwin, who finally is looking like Chris Godwin. I mean, this is, if you're looking for a bright spot in this game from the offensive side, Chris Godwin was the bright spot. He had a great game, looks very similar to how he did before that knee injury, was targeted 13 times, came up with 12 catches, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown. We mentioned Mike Evans, targeted 9 times, only had 2 catches for 31 yards, did draw a pass interference penalty. But Martin Emerson, the rookie out of Mississippi State, who I liked quite a bit, he did a really good job on Mike Evans today. And I thought that Tom Brady missed Mike Evans a couple times, also missed Godwin down the middle on what could have been a big play. That was the only time those guys didn't get in sync. But this is a wide receiver-driven offense, and this offense clicked better when it had Antonio Brown, when it had some speed on the outside. I'm not talking Scotty Miller speed. I'm talking the ability to create separation, running different routes rather than just go routes. And I think that's the element they're missing. They're missing Gronk for sure, but they're also missing Antonio Brown, or at least that type of receiver who can get behind a defense, stretch a defense, keep safeties back, and also too take some of the pressure off Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
And then I would just say, like, defensively, not that we want to go crazy far into the draft, but another edge rusher outside of Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. We don't know like how quickly Shaq Barrett's going to heal up, and if he's going to be the same player that he was. They obviously need a backup inside linebacker unless they fully believe in KJ Britt. And obviously, there's a lot of questions in the secondary. Is Jamel Dean going to be back? What are they going to do with Sean Murphy Bunting? Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to be looking for that next big contract. Obviously, he has another year, but and Mike Edwards as well. So if they're not able to bring back all of those guys, there could be a replacement. Obviously, Zyon McCollum was a rookie this year, but Jason Light likes to flood the position, as you famously coined. So wouldn't shock me if he went with another position there. Let's hear a message from our friends at Age Rejuvenation as we talk about this team getting younger.
As we age, our hormones decrease, both for men and women.
I was tired all the time, had no sex drive.
I was groggy.
I felt like I was 80 years old because everything hurt.
I came to Age Rejuvenation because I was tired all the time.
Bioidentical hormones has really made such an impact in people's lives.
I actually enjoy shopping now.
Got all my energy back.
Mind is sharp.
I feel like I'm 18 again.
It was perfect for me.
Get with Age Rejuvenation. Do it now. Don't wait.
Call Age Rejuvenation today.
I am an Age Rejuvenation customer, and I'm 50, and I feel like I'm 40, and I'm not tired all the time like I used to be. Although I am tired of watching bad football. I will admit that. But that has nothing to do with Age Rejuvenation. That has to do with 3 hours on most Sundays. And, of course, there'll be a Monday night game against the Saints. Boy, that's going to be a big one, Matt. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
And the Saints have pretty much owned Raymond James Stadium. It's going to be next Monday night. That's going to be a big one. But let me finish this ad read here because I got to tell you, folks, I should have done Age Rejuvenation in my early 40s because that's really when I started to kind of feel that downward descent, that decline from a mental acuity standpoint, getting tired, just not feeling good anymore. I felt like an old man, at when I turned 50 this year. And I started my testosterone therapy treatment in August, and it made a world of difference. Took about 3 weeks to kind of kick in, and boom, I feel great. I've lost weight, and not just pounds on the scale, but I've actually lost 3 pounds of body fat, which is awesome. And I've gained some lean muscle mass, which is helping burn that fat, which is great. So Age Rejuvenation, you've seen them on the Pewter Report Tailgate Show. They're our presenting sponsor. Go to agerejuvenation.com. Sign up for that free consultation. Get your labs done. Insurance will pay it. The doctors there are top notch, and see if the testosterone therapy is right for you. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or older, probably is, because that's when testosterone naturally decreases in men. It's natural, but you can fight it with testosterone therapy. 5 Tampa Bay area locations to serve you. agerejuvenation.com.
And before we sign off here, another thing that's in the Tampa location, of course, is the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Tampa, which I'll be going to pretty soon. And let's hear from them.
Just the way you like it.
Me and my wife decided we'll have some fun. I was playing a 2-cent machine. 6 bets in, I hit a jackpot. $117,000.
Hi, my name is Tara, and I won over $500,000 playing slot. I do this full time, and I would not change it for the world.
I'm Gloria. I won over $2 million at Seminole Hard Rock Casino. I went and bought a bunch of jewelry.
My name is Mike, and I won over $350,000. I love playing baccarat because it hits different. When you pull in that car and you flip over that 9, beating that 8, can't miss.
I'm Jimmy. I won $500,000 in a slot tournament at Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa. Even a blind squirrel can get a nut sometimes.
My name is Philip, and I won $215,000 on Blazing Sevens.
Put my last $40 on the table.
Next thing you know, bam, $215,000 jackpot. I hit that bad boy.
I didn't realize how much it would change my life.
You only live once. Have fun with it, right?
Anybody can win at Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa.
Never know when you can win big at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Tampa.
Matt, the Buccaneers had a chance to win big today. They did, because if they would have beat the Browns, we saw that the Falcons lost, and that would have increased their lead in the NFC South. Right now, it's still half a game. They've got the tiebreaker advantage over Atlanta, but they had an opportunity. Now, at least they didn't lose ground, right? But they certainly would have had the opportunity to gain some ground. The Saints also they're losing right now.
They're down 10-0
to the 49ers. The Panthers did win. Can they creep back into it? The crazy thing about Carolina, Matt, is they have 4 wins on the season now. Okay, 4 wins, so they're starting to kind of make a little bit of a comeback. But they're actually 3-1 in the division.
Yeah,
3 of those wins are against division opponents. So the Buccaneers have a 2-1 record in the division. The Panthers actually have a better record. Don't rule out the Carolina Panthers right now. If the Falcons and the Bucs keep sucking, the Panthers might just get back into this. It's crazy to think about, but they've done some damage in the division. Of course, the Buccaneers will have another shot at the Panthers and the Falcons and the Saints again, starting with the Saints. And that's going to be next Monday night at Raymond James Stadium, a place where the Saints have enjoyed quite a few wins. And we want you to join us. This is going to be at the Walk-Ons. We're doing Pewter Game Day. The Pewter Report tailgate show is going to be at the Walk-Ons in Midtown, just down the street from the stadium, starting at 6:30 next Monday night. And then, of course, we'll have the live in-game analysis with Matt Matera at 8:20. But that's going to be a big one, and we're going to shift focus to a key divisional game. This is a game right now the Buccaneers simply cannot afford to lose. But, I don't have a lot of confidence in them right now if they can't beat the Browns.
No, I don't have confidence in them in any game, let alone a team that has given them fits and a ton of rage over the past couple of seasons. And they barely survived them in week 2 outside of Jameis turning into the Jameis that we all know about. So, not optimistic about that game, but we'll obviously talk about them quite often this week. And we have another show on Monday where we'll dissect further what we heard from Todd Bowles and talk even more about this this stinker of a game for the Bucs.
Yeah.
But
we have to get to the bottom too of why the timeout was not called.
Yeah.
Right after that first down play right before the end of regulation, where Rachaad White gained 1 yard on the screen. They let 15, 20 seconds, 25 seconds go off just about before they called on their play, which was a deep shot to Julio Jones, got him, around midfield. And if they had another,
yet 8 seconds. So
if they had another 10, 12 seconds on the play clock, in addition to the 8 seconds, now you're looking at 20 seconds. That's 2, maybe 3 plays. And again, you don't have to run all the way down the field, right? Because if you're starting around the 45 yard line, wherever that was, 47, then, you pick up a 10-yard gain. You quickly run to the line, spike the ball. You maybe preserve some of those timeouts or use your second one. Who knows? But we're going to have to grill Todd Bowles and find out more about exactly what transpired and what this offense can do to generate more than 17 points. It's embarrassing. These 3 and outs that are happening. It's not all on Byron Leftwich's fault. He's calling some plays that he thinks are going to work. The execution just isn't there. But when you hear Tom Brady say something like, too many plays where we're just not on the same page, we're not all seeing it the same way, we just have to work at it, talk through it, and see where we can improve. We're talking about week 12, man. We're talking 11 games into the season plus a bye week, and you're not on the same page yet? Like, what the hell's going on with this offense?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we'll even get an answer from Bowles. We know we won't get one from Byron Leftwich later on this week because he thinks they're doing great, or he at least believes in them, which that's great. You got a thumbs up for that. You believe in them. That's awesome.
Well, he's seeing things that we don't, man. He's seeing improvements in areas that we don't. So
right. Yeah. I think he needs a thicker pair of glasses, which he doesn't even have glasses. But me, he needs glasses in the first place because what he's seeing, no one else is.
That's right.
His opinion is the only one, I guess, that matters because he's calling the plays, and it's not working. Yeah, as Common Sensei says, after a bye week, not on the same page, week effing 12. Let's end it on that note.
That's some real common sense from Common Sensei. We'll leave it right there.
Yeah. So for Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching and listening. We will see you tomorrow for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.